think there's going to be much fighting involved in this episode. Like,
no, John. I think we're good. I think there's going to be fighting.
No, like we both agree Alex is wrong. He's got shit taste. Like, I don't understand.
Well, I've already told him this, but like,
like,
we're gonna have
there's
to.
There's not a lot
him.
of fighting involved. You know?
No, I want to fight him. I kind of want to just fight him.
It's okay.
Bully Senpai, the episode.
I'm used to it by now.
God, what an abusive relationship we're in here.
I know.
We just abuse Alex all the time.
I am the battered housewife of ACAD.
It's true. You're also the trophy wife. You're the one who's always on the front man.
Yeah.
I love how resigned your sigh is.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anime Club After Dark, the podcast that delves into all things anime, manga, and otaku culture related. I'm your host, Alex, but you can call me Senpai, and tonight I am joined by our czar of source material, John.
Bro job, choo-choo!
And I have to say, it's a shitty nickname, but I'm going to say it anyway. Question mark, Shinoda.
Peak power level. Peak.
How do you pronounce that?
Don't worry about it.
Triple Q. I don't know.
Triple Q, let's go.
But anyway, three of us are here because it is the last of our Mob Psycho 100 Spoilercast. This is our Spoilercast for Season 3. Final season of Mob Psycho 100 because the manga is over. There will be no more, maybe,
so
until one gets bored.
Hopefully one now focuses more on One Punch Man, and I get to read more of that.
But yeah, no real need, I think, to get into the technical stuff because all of it's pretty much the same. Still Studio Bones. But one thing I definitely want to talk about is OPs and EDs, because we've done that for every single one of these so far. John and I were talking about this beforehand. One is okay, but I think
it's not. I don't know if it's because the first OP is my favorite.
It's mine too.
The second OP grew on me as time went by. This last OP, I couldn't get into it, dude. I was like, it looks cool, but it just doesn't sound that great in my opinion. Like, it's not bad by any standard. It's just okay.
Yeah. Also worth mentioning that both of the OP and the two EDs that occur in the season are all done by Mob Choir.
Yeah, who is Mob Choir, by the way? Have we ever asked or answered that?
Not really. I assume based on the name that it's a group of singers and or musicians that were put together specifically for Mob Psycho 100.
Well, I wonder because sometimes a lot of times animation studios will have the voice actors and stuff sing in their OP or ED. So
yeah,
I'm wondering if it's people from the show.
It may very well be. I don't know. That's a good question. But yeah, I'm kind of with John. The first OP is still my favorite. Just that counting up throughout the entire OP just kind of gets
you get more hyped. You get more hyped the higher it goes. It's it's so perfect and it fits so well at the very end. But Shinoda, why do you like this one? Is this one your favorite?
It's not my favorite. Number one is still
okay,
my all-time favorite for Mob Psycho, but it's definitely more than not bad or you guys didn't like it. It definitely grows on you.
It didn't grow on me like number 2 did. I don't know.
Nah, I guess I can understand that, but for me, number 2 as well, it didn't hit in the first bat, but then after 2 or 3 episodes, I'm like, let's fucking go. For number 3, it was the same. Initially, I was like, oh, this is kind of weird and different. But then, I kept on listening to it. I'm like, okay, all right, okay, I'm getting into this. It grew on me, man.
I do like that Mob Psycho does go back to that old shonen trope of during the final fight, the original OP plays.
Bro, I was so hyped because I was like, animes don't do this anymore. It's so
not
rare
really.
You see animes revisit they'll always do they'll do a slowed version of one of the main either the OP or the ED But like in the final climactic fight, they never like, especially it's in the third season, you know, it went back to the very first OP, and I was like, let's go, let's fucking go. Oh, it's so good.
Old shonen trope, but
fucking
it's good to see.
Blew my mind. Yeah, seriously. That's a classic trope. That's an actual classic trope. But no, that blew my mind. And like as soon as it started playing, I'm like, no fucking way. Are they doing this? And then they actually started. I'm like, let's fucking go! I got so fucking hyped.
You so hyped, dude. But I gotta say though,
like I was literally a couple seconds away from tearing my shirt off. I'm like,
oh my god,
let's go!
It's like a wrestling movie. Just comes out, tears his shirt off, and like, let's go!
Yeah, I gotta say, I think the scoring in season 3 was probably like the best out of all the seasons. I absolutely love the score.
Oh,
like,
without a doubt.
When we get to the mid, like because so it's broken down into basically 2 parts, like the Dimple arc and then the Tsubomi arc.
I called I broke them out into 2. I called them the Psycho Helmet Religion / Dimple arc and the Tsubomi arc just for simplicity's sake.
Yeah, but so there's these moments where they do like the soft spoken moments, and they have like the strings playing and shit, like the piano and the soft sounds, and I'm like, oh my heart, oh you're setting the scene so well, oh my god.
There is very little quiet scenes in the show. Yeah. Especially in season 3. And like it plays to a very powerful effect. When it is quiet, it's powerful.
It's so
impactful. When it isn't, it's still great because you have something that goes along with the scene. It isn't jarring. It just fits so goddamn naturally. You hardly notice it, but at the same time you notice it because it just plays into the immersion into the world so much more.
Yeah, like I fucking loved, and I absolutely adored Exist. Like that song when they do the slow version of Exist during episode, I think it's 6 at the end, and I'm just like, tears. First of all, episode 6, bro, tears. I was crying. I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe this happened. Like I was so fucking.
It was good.
Let's talk about. Do we want to talk about the music anymore, or can we start getting into the juicy bits?
Well, I do want to mention the other ED as well, Cobalt, which I thought was...
It's okay.
It's alright. The visuals were kind of a little disappointing, to be perfectly honest.
The visuals remind me of the first ED, where it's like just hand-drawn.
Kind of very minimalist, almost.
Yeah.
But the song is just kind of okay. I definitely preferred Exist over Cobalt.
God, Exist was so good.
Especially because of the 2 episodes that it is used in. I think it's used perfectly. Also, just one last note on the music. Just I think this is another example. The scoring in this scene, and I would say the scoring throughout the entire series, it just exemplifies why Kenji Kawai is a great anime composer. I mean, he's done this, Ghost in the Shell, Eden of the East.
There was something that happened with the fucking kazoos. I think it was at the end or something where they do something with the kazoos again.
Oh yeah, where they bring him back from the first season.
Yeah. What the fuck was it? I don't remember what section it was where they bring back the kazoos, and it was funny because it was like fourth wall breaking with the kazoos, and I can't remember what it was now. God, it was in the was it either in the last episode or the next to last episode, wasn't it? I gotta rewatch it again. There was something funny that happened with the kazoos, and I
know what you're talking about, but I can't remember the exact the context that it's done in. Just the music overall, I think in the series is really good, but the 3rd season it goes up just that little extra notch.
Yeah, it's just like it just kicked it up just a little bit more, and I appreciated it.
On last bit on the technical side, I definitely think that even as good as the art and animation was in the 2nd season, I think it's just a little tiny bit better in the 3rd season. Like this is the animation and art at its peak.
No, listen, hear me out. Season 3. When we get to the Dekabo fight against the broccoli tree, bro, the fucking god beams that they all shoot, all the fucking radio, like it was so
Sakuga to the max,
bro.
It was maximum.
It was
Sakuga.
crazy. It was so fucking crazy. I was like, this is fucking peak animation.
Like, right? You could tell this is Bones' A-team working on this.
I was like, is this Ufotable?
No,
like,
Alex,
did Ufotable work on this? Like, what
Alex,
the fuck?
I'm gonna disagree with that. This is the S team working on it.
S team.
It's not even the A team, bro. S team. Like,
Honestly, though, John, you said it. If I didn't know better, I could have been convinced that fight, at least that fight, the temple fight, was done by Ufotable.
bro. So when it first starts out, right, the first episode where it's like Mob's trying to figure out his career path to the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was so weird watching that episode because I was just like, this hits a little close to home, bro. Like,
Oh, Eddie's gone.
Oh no!
No, John, come back. It
so
hit
close.
way too close to home. It hit so close to home. It hit so
his
close to home.
internet
He
connection.
died. It hit so close to home. His internet died.
so it hit so close to home because I was like, I remember being a student once and being like, huh, man, you're like not even an adult yet, but you need to decide on your future career path because if you decide too late, you're gonna be stuck being an old grouchy person who doesn't know what their dream is. And I'm like, why you gotta do this to me, man? Like I watch anime to escape real life. I don't appreciate this.
Just sitting there like, how fucking dare you do this to
Like,
me, anime?
Man, I hate that. Like, I'm in school again right now because I finally figured out what I wanted to do, but I'm old as shit now. And it's just like, oh god, like, wow, bro.
I don't want to hear about how old you are, motherfucker.
Oh my god. But anyway, so I was like, all right, a typical start to a Mob Psycho season where like the first episode is kind of just like, oh, okay.
They're
Whatever.
almost like I don't want to say they're setting the stage for what's to come, but it's almost like a very slow introduction to the action of the season.
Well, it's just so very like, so in the very first season, the very first episode, it starts off with like, in this world there are psychics and then he's like fighting monsters and shit and things are blown up. So it's like, hey, Hook, look at me, flashing lights. Like, here, look at shinies, jingle please, like, get your attention. In this one, it didn't really grab my attention, but I guess that you wouldn't really be watching season 3 of a show if you weren't already invested. So that's probably why they're like, all right, we'll just do story building. So I thought that was a different change of pace because in the season 2 as well, it starts off and it's just kind of kicks off because like, oh, okay, here's season 1. It ends and you're like, oh, what the fuck, Claw and this and that. And then season 2 starts and you're like, oh, there's so much intrigue. This is the very first time it's just like, we're not taking that route. We're slowing the fuck down. And I'm like, oh, okay. It was a good, like, I thought it was a good tonal shift from like the whole high octane action. And it set the pacing for me to understand, like, I don't think season 3 is going to be about the fights. And I was right. It wasn't really about the fights.
It was a good change of pace based on how season 2 ended for sure. Because you have like what seems like going to be the climax of an entire like series being like the fight with the upper echelon of Claw and then the leader.
Yeah.
Like in any other shonen, that would be how it ends. But then you come back to this and it's
Bleach.
like, yeah.
Unless you're Kubo Tite and you're Bleach, and then you'll make it run for another 3.5 years to make more money for an arc that no one cares about, and then it'll take 10 years.
Oh. All right, I started recording again.
Okay.
All right, say what you were saying again.
Bro, I don't remember what I was saying.
In that case, I'll take over. On top of the fact that the episode slows the hell down and goes back to the slice of life part, I also really like the fact that other than the school part, after it was revealed that Tsubomi is applying to a prestigious school and all that, and like you see some of his percentage jump up, you move on to the rest of the office, Reagan and Sarazawa and Dimple, see what they're up to and all that, and I'm really happy to see that Sarazawa has really stepped it up. He's
going to school at night now. He's no longer a NEET. He's got a job. He's going to school to learn skills. I'm like, Sarazawa
interacting with people.
He's got a good redemption.
Like he's grown so much over the whole story. Like, and we only really
we've only had him for like
towards the end
episodes.
of season 2.
We
Yeah,
only have him for like 2 episodes, dude.
but like I fucking
crazy.
love his character so much. He has so much impact.
Yeah, we have him for the last episode, the OVA, and now we have like the first episode. So 3 episodes total.
Yeah,
That's really like how much we've had Sarazawa. But I think that one does a fantastic job at tying up all the loose ends in at season 3, because like it comes to with the exception of like episode 7. Episode 7's fucking weird, but like the conclusion that one makes for Dimple for literally the what's her face? Alien girl. I don't remember the alien girl's name.
Oh,
Did she
the
even
leader
have a
of
name?
the psychic club or whatever.
Yeah, her.
Yeah, I feel like I said that there's 2 arcs in this season. Really, there's 3 because you got that 2-episode arc with the aliens and shit, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? But
That
whatever.
was the weirdest shit.
As weird as some shit in this anime has been, it's like this is next level, man.
Yeah, but like even Teru has a redemption arc. Freaking, what is Mob's younger brother's name?
Ritsu.
Ritsu has his own like development arc.
Oh,
Like everyone has a development, and
I do want to point out with Teru, they did the rule of 3s with comedy. He gets his hair blown off 3 times, and now it can never happen again because it's not funny anymore.
I mean, wasn't the joke that he after the first time he's always just been bald? Isn't that the joke?
Yeah, but
I
he
thought that
gets
was
it.
the running gag.
It may be, but he gets it blown off 3 times, and that's why it's funny. After that, it's
Yeah,
not funny
season
anymore.
1, season 2, and then now season. Well, I mean, the show's over, so it doesn't matter. But oh my god! So the Psycho Helmet religion arc.
I was
just
right
like,
that it would be a prominent thing in season 3. I was right.
Yep.
Of course, like obviously one had to finish that off because it's like it's not gonna have no ending.
Yeah.
So the way that it goes about ending the entire religion, because it's like, so they're worshiping that giant broccoli that grows from season 2, and
The divine tree.
and as we all fucking saw a mile away coming, Dimple is the one who takes power from the tree, and he's turned into a god now, and it's like, oh, Dimple's turning evil, and it's like, well, he's kind of always been like that. His character's been set up to be evil, right? And
Well-
in very typical shonen fashion, the power of friendship wins. Like,
I was doing the watch party in our Discord server, and I mentioned to the people watching, like, Mob is genuinely like Commander Shepard. He just talks all the enemies down. He doesn't fight them. He just talks them down.
all right, so I'm not giving enough credit to this fight thing. So for Dimple's entire arc, like, so Mob, like, he's going through life and he's realizing like he has friends and stuff like that, and like for some reason he thinks he's getting popular, and it's like going to his head.
Oh, I want to talk about that for a second. I shit on one all the time for his shitty art and like the chin balls. This is one part where I think the chin balls are fucking funny.
Oh, it was absolutely hilarious to me. Like watching him, his voice gets deeper. He's like, "Yes, I am Mob," It's like, what?
And it's like his facial features get all like rugged and chiseled,
Fine.
and he's
He
got
looks
the
like a
chin
fucking-
balls.
like
No,
Giga
that
Chad
was-
look.
That was peak. That was peak Mob. I was
Oh my
like,
God.
holy shit.
There's a scene where he's like regular Mob, right? And he's walking with Ritsu, and Ritsu's like, "So you think you're getting popular?" And instantly his face is like, "Yes."
And it actually comes from a series of misunderstandings which are actually believable too.
Yeah.
And that's the best part.
I like
mean-
how at first he's not sure how to like handle like being popular when he thinks he's being popular. He's just like, "Oh,
Well, I like how he doesn't even realize he's popular until like I don't remember whichever one of the girls. I think it's that purple hair girl that he saves in season 2 comes up to Mob after he talks to like the newspaper chick and the telepathy club leader. After they talk to Mob, are like, "Hey, can you hang out in the morning?" And the other's like, "Hey, can you hang out at night?" And then the purple hair chick goes up and she's like, "Hey, I didn't even realize you were so popular." And then he's like, "Me? I'm popular?"
Something else I noticed. So the few times that we actually get a chance to see Tsubomi throughout the run of this series, at least at school and not in the flashbacks, she's always like flanked by 2 girls. One is like a broccoli, the other is an onion. And you see that again at the start of season 3, and then all of a sudden in the middle of the scene, like they're actual people. What the fuck?
So that has to do with like the whole. I don't remember. There's a different anime that does this too, where like everyone other than the main character and the girl that he's interested in are just faceless. It was a movie that we watched, I believe.
Well, that happens in A Silent Voice, where the people have like the
Yeah.
X's over their face.
Yeah. So it's kind of like it's symbolism. Like everyone else didn't really matter to Mob. It's now that because he's becoming more self-aware of like his place and like understanding there other people are actually kind of just, you know, relationships are important, stuff like that. It's him finally realizing like these aren't just extras to Tsubomi. They're actually people.
I did
So-
not get that from that. I just thought it was one being fucking nuts.
No,
you gotta
more of
read
a-
deeper, Alex. You gotta read deeper into
It's
it.
more like Japanese symbolism.
I do think it's funny that once we actually see what they look like 40-year-old women, and they're supposed to be in
also-
middle school.
There's that scene where Tsubomi sneezes and then she has like snot on her hands, and
Oh,
she's
yeah.
like, "Oh God, can you guys go to class? I'll catch up later." They're like, Tsubomi-chan, let's go out together. And she's like, "No, really." He's like, and I was like, "God, I hate these girls. I hate these high school girls so much."
I don't think you're
'Cause it's-
supposed to like them.
No, you're not supposed to like them because they're just extras and shit like that. But I'm like, I felt so bad for Tsubomi. I'm like, oh God, but. Oh my God, we're getting off topic. So,
Let's talk about the actual first part of this season because
So-
we're kind of
so-
getting off track.
oh my God. So, Mob's getting a big head over this, and then like Dimple being who he is, he's like,
Sees an
talking to Mob.
opportunity to attack.
well, he's talking to Mob. He's like, "Are you sure it's not going to your head, dude? Like, you've had quite a lot of misunderstandings before." And it's like, this is something that I thought was really cool. So it may seem like Dimple is kind of an asshole because he
Mm.
kind of is, but he's always been realistic with Mob. He's kind of the only person who's ever been realistic with Mob. Everyone else kind of lies to him or panders to him because they're afraid of him
Or
and
takes
stuff like
advantage
that.
of him.
Or takes advantage. I mean,
yeah.
you could argue that Dimple was taking advantage of Mob because he kind of was. Originally, he was.
Originally, yeah.
And like, because it's gone to Mob's head, Mob's like, "Whatever, Dimple, like, I don't care about your opinion, you blah blah blah." And then Dimple's like, "Oh, okay." So then he's like, "Full send, I'm doing my master plan." So then like there's someone comes out as the founder of the Psycho Helmet religion, and it's like
And it's not Mob.
it's not Mob, it's just a poorly drawn version of Mob that looks like it. And then like, obviously to the viewers, we're all like, "That's Dimple, 100%." We all know that's Dimple because he was on top of the broccoli absorbing the power already. So it's like, we know.
Oh,
But Mob doesn't.
is it episode like 2 or 3 of the season where it ends with him like laying on top of the broccoli
Episode
and he says like,
one, actually,
"It's now
the very
time."
end of episode 1. That's when that happens.
yeah. Oh, I want to talk about something else that happened in this part of the arc. So one thing that does happen is the cultural festival at school, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And at the very end of it, we get a scene that should have been in season 2. I swear to fucking Christ. We talked
Was it
about it,
Reese?
John. We talked about it. You know how we were talking about how it's kind of like shitty writing, how Show just appears at the end of season 2 with no like build up, no setup, no nothing, right?
Yeah.
In season
Yeah.
3, we get a scene that sets up Show to arrive later in the fucking season, and this scene should have been in season 2.
Yeah, that was
I
something
mean,
like
yeah.
Like
I-
it's at the end of the cultural festival, and Ritsu's in the maid outfit because he got roped into doing like a maid cafe.
I love that.
And-
I love that in the
and-
beginning, Ritsu's on the student council, right?
Yeah.
The helper or whatever. And he's like, "Are you sure we want to do the festival? Like, we're gonna get noise complaints, guys. Like, I don't think it's a good idea." And you're just like, the entire time you're wondering, like, why is Ritsu so against the cultural festival? Like, that's kind of weird. And it's because he didn't want to do a cross-dressing cafe maid outfit. I love that detail. I love that they even put that in there because they didn't have to.
No.
They could have just showed like Ritsu being depressed that he had to do this for his class, but it was fucking hilarious.
But genuinely,
It's
this
hilarious too because he can pull it off really well.
yeah, this scene where Sho just appears and goes like, "Hey Ritsu, it's me," and they sit down and they start talking. Like, why wasn't a scene like this in season 2?
right.
Um,
But I really liked the Culture Festival arc because, again, it shows Mob's growth. Like, he's roped into being the non-volunteers are roped into doing costumes for their haunted house.
yeah,
And I'm like, first of all, who in their right mind would take that much of an important role? If you're doing a fucking haunted house, costumes are probably like, I'd say number 1 or number 2 on the list of most important thing to do. Probably the construction of the actual like maze and stuff through it. It's probably number 1. The costumes are probably number 2.
you should probably
So-
give that job to someone who's actually excited about doing it.
Yeah, like it didn't make sense to me. I was like, who would do that? Like, who would shaft the guys who didn't volunteer with like it's such an important job, like dumbass class. But anyway, that's beside the point. I love that Mob at the end was like he I love that they introduced the 100 yokai thing and they kind of just like brush him off. And
Yeah.
they go around and Sarah's out and Mob are just killing him like normal. And it's like, oh my god, it's the king of the 100 demons. I can't believe he's being revived already. And then it hard cuts like he's dead now.
I
Oh,
genuinely,
no.
I
Poor
had a
general.
I,
Yeah.
I had a feeling while I was watching that dude, the 100 yokai hunter or whatever, like I feel like he's supposed to be a caricature of an actual weeb.
I don't know.
Wait, what? Really?
That's
Where
what
you
I
get
got
that
from that. Like I feel like he's supposed to be a caricature for like actual like shall we say intense anime fans.
I didn't get
I
that
don't know.
vibe.
Yeah.
I disagree.
I think he's just like he's a weirdo. He's just a regular weirdo who tries to fight ghosts or yokai.
It
with
is
this
funny
magical
regardless.
sword. But yeah, I love that Mob came into his own character and like he actually took charge and was like, guys, I really don't think we should call it, phone it in. We should really make our own costumes. And then he like forces the other guys to do it. And I was just like, he's so assertive now. My boy's growing up. Like he's not a fly on the wall anymore, you know? And I'm just like,
season
it's so
one,
good seeing that.
he would never ever would have done something like that. Now, like he's perfectly fine with it.
I mean, even in the beginning of that, like when they were like, "Oh, we'll just get sheets and cut a little eye holes, call them ghosts." Like that's good enough. And he's like, "I don't think we should." And then they're like, "Oh yeah, what do you have in mind then, Shigeo or Mob?" And then he's like, "Buh, buh, 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 buh." Like he can't speak because he's like, too much pressure. But over the course of like the 100 yokai thing and him getting inspiration and him just learning, like getting that courage to speak up, you know, that feeds into the why he got such a big ego. Because everyone in the class, they obviously weren't like it was the best thing, but they're like, "Hey, good job! You actually made something kind of cool." Yeah. So it was good watching that. I love that. But yeah, so then we get to the Psycho Helmet religion, which is like it's a full blown religion now. It used to be just a gathering of fanatics, but they've just like
it's
a
grown
bunch of,
beyond its original like scope.
Well, because after the giant broccoli or the divine tree sprouts in the middle of the fucking city after season 2. Like now
People
all
start
these
to worship
crazy all these crazy fanatics are coming out and they're like, no, there's a dragon egg on top of the broccoli. Like, no, it's Mother Nature coming back. We're the green utology people. Like, what the like
Literally
crazy.
every sort of faction you can think of.
Yeah.
Appears.
So like obviously someone has to come in and take control of that. And Dimple tells Mob, he's like, you should do it. Like, I'll be your wingman and I'll help you guide these people. And Mob's like, no, I don't want to do that. I would never do that. And he was like, that's a dumb thing to do and blah, blah, blah. And then Dimple takes it personally. He's like, all right, well, you shadow all over my ideas. I guess I'll just go do the thing that I said I was going to do in the very beginning, which is harness this power and become a god. And he does.
Yeah.
Like, look at that. It went full circle. He became a god. God Dimple is so fucking funny.
I do like the fake mob that he creates using like the broccoli power whatever looks more like a penis than Mob does.
Yeah, because he has like the bowl cut, but he's like a longer face.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like Dimple goes full evil and he starts brainwashing everyone in the fucking city
with candy.
With candy,
dirty bastard.
Not
And
just
he's
candy.
like-
Any type of broccoli product that he can get into people is what he uses to brainwash.
Yeah, like
people.
powdered broccoli stuff into treats, drinks, stuff like that. And he makes his dream come true. He becomes God.
He
Takes all
actually
the power.
he accomplished more with that than he did with his original like plan before.
His
the
LOL
lol
religion.
the lol.
And like watching Mob and oh my god. So when Mob finally catches on and is like, you can't brainwash people, and he goes and confronts Dimple because he obviously knew that it was Dimple that was at the center of it. Because everyone, like even freaking Teru knew that. It was like the only person who he's done this before. like we know Dimple did this before. This is obviously Dimple.
Yeah.
So when Mob goes and confronts him, I fucking knew that Dimple would be like, you can't fight me with violence because then you'd just be proving my point. And I'm like, oh, this is actually a point of contention because Mob has thus far been using violence to get his way, to make people like, no, you can't do that. That's bad. But then like it comes into play that that's what Dimple wants because he's like, that's right, Mob, stop me. I want you to stop me. Prove my point. And that's when Mob like stops like going off his scale of like power and just fighting Dimple and being like, "You're right. I don't need my powers to fight you. You know why? Because I know who you really are, Dimple." And he's like has the heart to heart, and he actually talks it out instead of fights him. And I'm just like, I knew this was coming. I knew the power of friendship was gonna save the day, but I fucking enjoyed it. It was so predictable. Honest to God, it was so predictable, but it was so enjoyable to watch because I was like, because watching Mob grow as a character over the last 3 seasons, how he builds his confidence, how he understands like sometimes just using your powers is not like the best way to do anything. And then Dimple growing as a character of like, yeah, he was a bad guy, and then he was like, oh, I'm just gonna try to scam this kid. But then Dimple becomes like attached to the kid and realizes like it's just fun being around Mob. He's made me more human and more like attached to life than anything else. Than anything, like achieving his dream of becoming a god. He even says it. It's like once he got it, he felt off. He felt like he wasn't complete still.
He uses the word empty to describe it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was just like, this is such an impactful scene. I was like, I love that they went this direction. Even though I knew it was going to go this direction, I love that they did it anyway because it's just it was executed so well.
I would
While
argue
predictable, it was executed beautifully. Yeah.
I would argue that it's as impactful as it is because number one, because of how well Mob is developed over the course of the series, but also how well that Dimple is.
Yeah. Dimple's such a good character.
I feel like if this was between Mob and any other character, it wouldn't be anywhere near as impactful.
I mean, if it was Mob and Reagan, I'd say so. But
Mob and Reagan, maybe. But even that, I think, is debatable. But
yeah, so like eventually, Dimple like just agrees with Mob. He's like, "You're right. I'm not a bad guy. I'm actually a good guy now because of you. You've changed me, Mob. And by golly, power of friendship rules the day." So then he like. Mob passes out because every time he uses his power, he passes out.
I'm Commander Mob, and this is my favorite anime on Crunchyroll.
And I love the fact that like this was like right after they were fighting. They stopped fighting at the point of the end of the 5th episode where he fires a godly beam, I believe, at Mob, and like he sees the shirt Mob's been wearing, which is just
yeah,
ugly.
He's wearing the ugly monkey shirt. So
with
one thing,
everyone and their mother just sees Mob wearing it, and
they lied to him. They fucking lied to him.
So
they're like, okay, Mob, if that's your choice, that's fine.
Teru gets the shirt for Mob because he's like, this is a fashionable shirt, you should wear it, and he's like, Mob's like, oh, okay, and then Ritsu sees it, and Ritsu's like, are you sure you want to wear that? Like, okay, Oni-chan, if you really want to, you can wear it. Then Reagan sees it, and he's like, keep your school jacket on. It's more defense points. And then Dimple is the only person who sees it and goes, what the hell are you wearing? What are those?
Like, are you okay? Do you need help? Like, he's flat out stops the fight. He's like, yo,
fighting.
Are you good?
Yeah. Oh my, because he's such a bro. And oh my god, so like, and that's when Mob realizes like, oh, like Dimple,
like Dimple's still there. It's still him.
Still my friend. And that's when he chooses the path of non-violence, and it's just like, oh, all warms and stuff, power of friendship. And then like Mob faints, and then they're escorting him. He's Dimple's carrying him. He's like, what am I gonna do with you, Mob? And he's escorting him out, and then the tree fucking comes alive. And I'm like, yo, okay, like, is this the new big bad? Like,
that was a twist I did not see coming.
Yes,
I did not see that
when that happened. When that happened, I genuinely thought, okay, the rest of the season is gonna be about actually fighting this now sentient tree.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was gonna be. And then like, bro,
which it probably should have been in hindsight, but
the animation, we'll get to that. The animation with Dimple versus the broccoli tree, bro,
god tier.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Soundtrack, the sound effects, everything about it. The colors, the composition, watching the non-stop fight scenes, because the tree is like 100, like it's unlimited proliferating, where it's like throwing clones of trees at Dimple, and Dimple's like in god mode, and he's god Dimple mode, and he's just like
he looks like a giant yellow pickle.
And like, and then we get to Mob finally waking up, and then it's like Dimple's like, hey, what's up, Mob? And it's like, you see Dimple's all fucked up, and it's like, oh, I guess he won that fight against the tree, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, because they've been fighting for like, it's like fucking minutes or something, 3-5 minutes of just nonstop action.
Which
No,
I think
it's
the
been
anime
a lot longer than that. You
the
actually
anime
see the progress
we
of time.
we only
Yeah.
see it for a couple of minutes, but I'm pretty sure the anime is meant to imply that it goes on for hours.
Yeah. So Dimple's been fighting for a while, and when Mob finally like kind of wakes up and he's like, "Oh, Dimple, what are you doing?" And then Dimple's like kind of messed up and stuff. You're like, "Oh yeah, he won the fight. Awesome."
I like how you don't realize that at first because you see it from Mob's point of view and you're just seeing his face and it's like he's got some scratches and stuff, but you think, oh no worse for wear. And then it cuts to a wide shot and you see bits and chunks of him missing.
Yeah.
You see
And then you
Dimple
see the fucking
fucked
tree.
up.
And then you see the tree in the background still alive. And Dimple's like, since he's in this state, I can probably brainwash him. And he brainwashes Mob. He's like, you need to get up, Mob. You need to walk out of here, right? And you need to tell everyone to leave. Like, those are my first and last things I'm going to order you to do. And then Mob does it. And then the fucking tree attacks Dimple and eats Dimple. And you're like, yo, whoa, what the fuck?
No, like before that, as he's walking away, he turns back too. Mob turns back to look at him.
Oh yeah, and then he sees
my-
Dimple like in regular Dimple form, but then we get cut into like real life is Dimple is still in his god form, but the form that Mob sees is Dimple in his regular form, and he turns back and he's just like waving like, yeah, see you, Mob, I'll see you later. I gotta do something first, and you're just like, bro, Dimple's about to die. Like, bro, no,
that
don't
was like
do
the
this to
first
me,
hit.
bro.
That I was like, oh no,
No,
I
you're
want
gonna die.
to say right now, it may be a trope, but I am a slut for the heroic sacrifice. even more so when it's done by an antagonist. And boy,
Yeah, 'cause
when they did
like-
this with Dimple, oh my god, I'm like, yes, my boy.
Redemption arcs, right?
Yes.
Because so every person has a redemption arc in the end of season 3, right? Everyone gets a closure to their story. Like Teru has one later, but this is Dimple's redemption, and I was just like, he had to die, and he did it to save Mob, so that he gets eaten by the tree, and then he fucks up the tree. Oh, bye, Chinoda.
Oh, bye, Chinoda.
So he fucks up the tree, but then like he lifts the tree off, and then like the tree. Oh, Chinoda's back.
Yep. Bye. Hey, Chinoda.
Hello, Chinoda. So yeah, he gets eaten by the tree, and then like it cuts to like Mob back at home, and then like the news going off, like the divine tree is being lifted off into space. Oh, what's happening? Because when Mob tells him Reagan's idea of like, oh, we were just gonna chop the tree and just move it to the ocean, and then Dimple's like, that's a dumb fucking idea. That will never work.
and that's what he literally fucking does. He's like, I have god powers.
Bye.
Oh, yeah. So he just like he gets eaten by the tree, but then he takes it over and he floats it into space to just go die off in space. So the tree doesn't
Wait, did he
exist anymore.
float
on
it
Earth.
into space or into the ocean?
He floated it off into space.
Yeah, they say
Okay.
in the news report that it goes off into the atmosphere. So
Yeah, and it's just like you're like, he's not coming back, and then it cuts again to like it's been a month now, and Ritsu's like, oh, you still upset that Dimple hasn't shown up in like a month? That's fine, he'll show up eventually. And it's like, oh, Dimple's dead, dude. He's dead.
I like
And I
how
was just like
there's a
tears
scene.
in my eyes, bro. I was like, oh, Dimple, that was such a good redemption arc.
Yeah, there's a scene like right before that where Mob like goes back home and he's like putting his bed together and he lays down and he's like, yeah, it'll all be fine when Dimple comes back, and then he starts crying because deep down
Oh
he
my
knows
That
he knows
fucking broke me.
he knows he's
That-
not coming back.
Bro.
That destroyed me. Like after that episode, I had to turn off my TV and just like process for a good minute. I was like,
Oh
what
my
the
god, John's
fuck?
crying right now.
I teared up a little bit thinking about the scene.
Oh god,
No,
no.
A tiny bit.
It was a beautiful scene.
It's so
It
good,
was so
'cause
well done.
I am always a sucker for like antagonist turned friend who does the heroic sacrifice.
Yes.
I am a sucker for that
Yes.
because it hits so hard. Because it's like when you have friends and enemies are very intimate, right? Is the word I'm looking for. Because
Air quotes intimate.
intimate, because to hate someone, to truly hate someone, you'll know a lot about them to hate them, right? It's a very intimate thing, which is why in writing it's used quite a lot, like friends or foes turned into friends, right?
Yeah,
Because-
in fiction I agree with you. In real life it's a lot more simplistic than that, but
Yeah, I know, but my point is in fiction, in writing, in good writing and stuff like that, like Power Rangers, man. Green Ranger is evil. He turns good. He's White Ranger. I love that shit. Okay, I was born and raised on this fucking stuff. In fucking Elden Ring, Blythe. Like, what happens with Blythe's storyline? That shit, same thing. You know? Like, friend turned enemy, turned friend at the end, and it's like self-heroic sacrifice. You're like, well, what the fuck? So, I'm a sucker for that shit.
Me too.
And I just...
It's one of the reasons why the ending of Arcane is so damn good.
I cannot have imagined Dimple having such a good redemption arc, to be honest. Because I didn't know one was capable of closing things out, because the only thing I've seen prior to this was One Punch Man, and that's still going right now, the manga.
Yeah.
Like, the web manga, I believe he doesn't do anymore, but he's doing the regular manga with Murata, yeah. So, let's see if he can close that one out. But, yeah, God, Dimple, my boy.
Honestly, I know y'all love to harp on Mob, and Mob is a really good character, but I have to say, my favorite character in the entire series is Dimple.
I think my favorite's still Mob, because unlike what you say, Alex, I think it was great that we saw the ending that we saw. It should not have ended where Dimple dies. First and foremost.
I disagree. I actually think this whole thing with the Psycho Helmet religion and the Dimple arc really should have been a season-long arc. And you could have woven the stuff with Tsubomi in throughout it.
No, if it was an average shonen, it very well could have been, and it would have. I'm glad they didn't.
But I guess, are we going to go into the Tsubomi arc now?
No,
let's talk about the alien one.
Yeah,
okay.
I want to go into.
Can we all just
fucking weird?
Can we all just agree how fucking weird this shit was?
So after that
dramatic, weird.
After that dramatic, because I get that that's something that's a storytelling thing, right?
A
right
breather.
After a dramatic, right after something super dramatic and heart wrenching, you need to have comic relief afterwards.
You need to have a breather.
Yeah, because you can't just have complete sad all the time, because it'll just not be great.
Or complete action.
Yeah. However, that fucking break was real fucking weird.
I also think it didn't need to be 2 fucking episodes either.
I thought, okay, so honest to God, I thought that it was going to end without, so the fucking telepathy club leader is like, we need to make memories because I'm graduating, going to high school, this and that, and the club members, the Slacker club members are like, nah, we're not really, we've made plenty of memories. She's like, you don't understand! And then she disbands the club and this and that. Yeah. And her entire thing is she wants to find a telepather.
UFO.
A UFO. She wants to use telepathy to find a UFO, and I'm like, I thought you were the telepathy club. Like, I don't understand how that relates.
Yeah,
to
I don't understand how these two things are related, but yeah. So eventually, I thought it was gonna be your stereotypical, like, they're just gonna go on the mountain trip, hiking. They're just gonna make good memories. I did not fucking expect there to be actual aliens. Yeah, or for one of them to get fucking abducted and then butt probed.
Well, he wasn't butt probed, but yeah, it was implied that he was basically banging. He was banging the queen of the aliens.
Yeah, it was implied that he had an entire harem of alien women.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Mameta, that's his name. So they're and that was not the 6th episode. That was the 7th episode that this happened.
Yeah.
Towards the end of it, you're looking around and you're like, wait, one of them is missing, and they're like, where the fuck is Mameta? And it turns out he actually. They forgot to put him back, so like
the aliens didn't put him back because the aliens literally abducted him to just have him because they're all apparently girl aliens, I guess, because they're all pink with like beautiful anime eyes and
like 1980s bug eyes.
They took him to their planet. He became a fucking hero on their planet because he was the only one that could kill their natural predator.
Which only ate their crops. It was like the size of a dog. It was like a spider the size of a dog.
Which was like hilarious.
I just walked up and kicked it.
Man, that's all you did. You walked up and kicked the spider. And they just like, oh, hero. And it's like,
they're like, this man is our king now. And he became such a staple of a fucking empire. And he was getting laid every day, partying all the fucking time. Like, this literally happened in the anime. And then he grew bored and he was like,
I want to go home now.
My people, I want to go home. And he managed to convince them. They're like, we'll miss you, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then he comes back, and like no time has passed. Like,
yeah,
I don't know how much time has passed. It doesn't tell you, but he just shows back up.
John, super relativity. Okay,
fuck it.
That's not how that works, but okay.
We'll just roll with it.
Black holes. I don't know. Fuck it. I don't know.
was
It was weird.
It was so weird.
I do understand that they
I
needed a breather
love-
after it, but I don't think this was the breather they needed.
I think it was a good breather just to do the whole like they hiked up and they had a good time as a telepathy club. I did not think the alien thing was necessary.
Honestly,
it was hilarious.
if
I
the-
thought it was fucking funny.
if the
but
seventh
it was not
episode,
necessary.
if the seventh episode had ended like with the end of the hiking trip, and maybe we see something go across the sky. Oh my God, was that a UFO?
Yeah,
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, I exactly thought that's where it's gonna go, and I was like, that's fine. That's an acceptable episode. It just had to go further beyond, and it was so fucking weird.
Yeah,
I loved it. It fits
was a
so
fucking
well into Mob though.
It's such a fever dream. And then the other thing I was thinking, I was like, wait, so they know that psychics exist. They know that ghosts exist.
they know that aliens exist.
They know that aliens exist. Like, what the fuck is EarthGov doing, bro?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
They do
to
absolutely
be
nothing
fair,
about this.
EarthGov doesn't necessarily know about aliens.
That's
They
true. The
don't
rest
know
of-
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I would
They
think
know
that if
about
you're a group
psychics
of middle
and
school
ghosts.
students who aliens visit you in the middle of the woods, you're gonna go back and tell some people that fucking shit.
Well, they did. They
I
posted
don't
it
know.
online.
They don't really talk about like a lot of things
to be
because
fair,
things are normalized.
To be fair, there is an out here. So when the guy gets returned, he loses his memories of what happened with the alien.
But he still has the big anime eyes.
Yeah, when he talks about meeting them again. But it says that his memory of the time on the planet is hazy. So if anyone else got abducted and then returned, their time on the planet would also be hazy. So they'd be like, "Oh, we definitely saw aliens there." Right? And that was online. That was everyone knew that the aliens would show up there. They didn't know that they'd take you to their actual planet.
John may have a point here. That may
There's
be an actual
out
out.
here. There is an out. And also, it's not even relevant to the story. It's just a one-off. Like, we just went further beyond just to fuck with the viewers' expectations, and it did. It fucked with my expectations.
Yeah.
Did not see it coming.
I can't say that I necessarily like really enjoyed it, but it was
No,
all right.
I didn't
I
really
enjoyed
enjoy
it. I liked it. It was weird, but
yeah.
it was that good. Mob
It was
Psycho
funny
weird.
weird,
It was
yeah.
that good one kind of weirdness
I
that I fucking
guess.
love.
I felt the season would have been exactly the same without it.
I also feel like the season would have been the exact same without it.
Which makes me wonder, like, as a writer, why would you put something in that doesn't matter?
All right, so now we reach the
The
last
final
arc of the
arc,
series.
the final 4
arc.
episodes,
Which is the only part where I'm probably going to disagree with absolutely everyone else.
because you have wrong opinions. Yes, we know.
Yes, we know. We discussed this.
My biggest
So-
issue before we get into this is I think this would have been a lot better if over the course of this anime, Tsubomi had been developed more as a character.
I can
She's
actually
not
a little bit agree with
all
that.
right. So let me say something. What are the two things from the very first fucking episode of the anime? What are the two things that Mob wanted to do?
Confess to
What is-
Tsubomi.
Confess to Tsubomi was one of them.
And the other thing was
Fuck. What
find
was that?
his place.
Find a purpose. Find his
Right.
place.
Right.
So
Yeah.
a recurring theme in Mob Psycho is that he can't find a place for himself, and he finds friends who accept him for who he is. In the very last arc, the last thing that Mob needed to do was to learn to accept himself. Beautiful.
I get it.
Beautiful.
I get the message. I get what they're trying to do. I just think it could have been done better.
I disagree, dude. I think how they handled it went perfectly. Like, so we entered the last arc. Basically, Tsubomi's moving away now, so everyone's like confessing their love to Tsubomi, and Mob's like, "Oh God, I got to confess my love. I got to do something," and he just literally spends the episodes. What the fuck was that?
Someone's
heard-
fucking
Is someone like
revving
trying to
their
break
car.
into your house, Shinoda?
No,
God.
someone's revving their car out there.
Nice.
Yeah, I could hear that on my end.
Me
Jeez.
too. Wow.
So yeah, we get to the end, and Mob's like trying to figure out why does he like Tsubomi in the first place? Because he wants to confess to her, but he doesn't know what to say. Because every other guy basically like has a crush on Tsubomi as well, and there's like that huge line of guys waiting to confess. to her behind
Okay.
the
Let's
bullshit.
go into it. So which episode was it? 9th episode. News breaks out basically that Tsubomi's gonna be moving in a month, and like all the boys, literally, there's a literal line that goes like around the school of like all the boys probably a couple of girls as well, confessing to Tsubomi, and she is just flat out rejecting everyone.
Yeah, like a factory line. They show
Like,
that. In,
you know,
like,
you know what I thought
line
of? You know
like,
that
faces
that
crying and stuff.
you know that like that thought of the person with the rejection stamp just. Ba-doom, ba-doom, ba-doom.
Oh man, and like, I thought it was funny because I was just like, I didn't expect what was gonna happen, right? So eventually, Mob, he goes and he asks advice from like his club leader. He goes and asks advice from photography girl, newspaper girl.
Basically
He goes
everyone, even Reagan.
everyone around him, yeah. And then he goes and asks Reagan, and he finally comes to his own answer about like, because of Reagan, I should just. In typical Reagan fashion, he's cheating by Google searching it on his phone
Yeah.
and telling Mob like what to do. And I love that Serizawa sees it. He's like, he's cheating.
I also think like he wants to call him out for it, but he's like, no, that's not what you do for a boss.
Yeah. I love Reagan so much. Oh, so yeah, eventually Mob comes to his own answer. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go get a Rose. I'm gonna invite her to the park that we used to play at when we were kids, and I'll just tell her I've loved you since we were kids, and I want to be your boyfriend because you're the only person who's ever accepted me when I was using my powers.
One
Which is
small
like,
detail
oh,
about
okay.
this that I really do like is that when he goes and buys the rose, the guy that well, not the guy that sells it to him, but one of the guys working at the flower shop is one of the claw guys that he defeated in the first season.
Yeah, one of the big names too.
Or no, was it the second season? The plant guy.
Second season, yeah, the plant guy. Second season.
I thought that was a nice little touch.
He's
Nice
one
little
of
callback.
the top 5 or elite 5,
Yeah.
whatever the hell they were called.
And he has a job that
Minegeshi.
kind of suits his power.
Yeah, and like I love that every single person around him was helping Mob out. Like all the friends, all the relationships, like they're all culminating. Like these people who have helped Mob, like every single person who's built a connection to Mob gives him advice and helps him out.
And
in a
it's
different
genuine
way.
advice. It comes from a
Yeah,
place
and
of
I'm just
genuine
like-
care.
And it's like watching all these bonds and stuff. I'm like, oh, good for Mob, man. He made good friends. They're all like actually worried about him and want the best for Mob. Because even despite all of them not being able to give him perfect advice or even advice at all, they're all like, we're rooting for you, dude. Like, you got this, man. Like, you need to confess and you need to just open your heart up to that girl. And I'm like, these are really good friends. Good. I'm so happy that Mob has friends like this. And it's the same thing like with the claw guy. Him seeing Mob buys like a single, I think it's like a 1,000 yen, so like a $10 bouquet. And then he comes out with like one of those $50 bouquets, like a big ass bouquet
With lots of
Here,
different flowers in it.
yeah. And I'm just like, oh, that's so nice of them. And then he gets hit by a fucking car. Holy
like
shit.
he saved a cat from getting hit by a car first, and then you see a kid almost get hit by a truck. Mob,
Because he's being an
his powers,
idiot and looking down
Yeah.
at his fucking Game Boy.
Mob just instinctively rushes out and pushes the kid out of the way and gets hit by that car. I mean, not car, truck. It was a
Truck,
truck.
yeah.
He was that truck was trying to isekai him.
No, for real, like,
he was
like-
about to get isekai'd, yeah.
The very last scene of the episode, you just see Mob like laying on the street and like
Bleeding
a lot
out.
of blood coming out.
Just
And you're
imagine-
like, oh, fuck.
Just imagine an
thought-
alternate universe where he gets hit by the truck, dies, and then he just wakes up with Ainz over top of him, like, wake up. Wake up.
No, I definitely, I was like, bro, I thought this was about to go Rumbling Hearts. I really thought it was about to go down the route of Rumbling Hearts where like he's gonna wake up 5 years later, everyone's gonna be different. I was like, no, they can't do this to me. No,
I would have
can't
been
go through that again.
so pissed.
I would be
Oh
so
my
upset.
god.
But luckily they didn't do that. But what they did do was now that Mob has been knocked the fuck out, his true side comes out. His other
So
half.
this was really interesting. This whole time, I thought this was his emotional state reaching its peak, but no, it's actually revealed this is the side of Mob that he's been suppressing the
Yeah.
whole time.
So
and like
the
when
entire
you put that
show-
together, it makes a lot more sense.
It does. Like the fact it connects back to the very first time Mob talks about why he doesn't want to use his power because he hurt Ritsu one time when Ritsu
Was
was
young.
it Ritsu getting bullied?
Yep.
Yeah, he was getting
Yeah.
bullied and he accidentally hurt hurt really badly one of the bullies.
Yeah, someone like hits Mob when he was a kid over the head, and he loses control basically. And it was just like, it
as
was
kids
so
are wont to
crazy.
do.
Yeah, as kids would do attempted murder. So we find out that now that Mob has been knocked out, Shigeo comes out. His unrepressed side, or his suppressed side comes out, and he just wants to go and confess to Tsubomi, but he's fucking everything up on his warpath walking to Tsubomi. And it's just like, yo, what the fuck? I love that they showed what Mob is like at full power when he gives zero fucks. I didn't think we'd actually get to see that ever. Honest to God.
It's cool.
Oh my
Alex, oh my God.
Okay, I guess Alex isn't gonna talk. All right, Alex and
I'll keep
John
talking
didn't know
about
the
it.
show.
No,
No, I'll
so-
keep talking about it too. Let's go.
like seeing Mob at like his question mark percent. Oh, focus camera.
What
Hello?
the fuck?
Hello?
Wow,
Yeah.
your
It's
camera is
what
like,
just happened to your camera?
stop throwing ramen at it, John. There it goes.
Oh, there we go. That was weird.
It was like the ghost in the corners, but
Echo
yeah,
buff?
seeing
It was Dimple behind you.
So seeing Mob at his true, like, unrestrained, I don't give a fuck power, and how much leagues
Hi, Lacey.
better he is. Don't ignore the secretary in the background getting me ramen. But yeah, how much leagues Mob is stronger than everyone else. So he's walking through and he's like, he fights against the old claw leaders, right? And they're just like, they're trying to protect their convenience store.
I did think that was funny. It's like they've redirected all their energy to protecting a convenience store.
And they're like, no, I'm sorry, manager, I lost the store.
Rolling back just a
Fucking
little bit, he wakes up and like it started with a mild tremor, but then like a massive earthquake, and everyone's
like
the
the
fuck
city
just
is just getting
happened?
fucked, dude.
And
and
like
then-
you see a massive storm of like just everything happening around Mob, and like you see a bunch of police officers like, what the fuck's going on? And then you start hearing reports from them that like a person matching Mob's description was causing an earthquake, and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You see all this going on, and then Teru sees it, and he tries to stop
Yeah,
Mob.
he like lightning steps over to Mob. He's like, haha, Shigeo, I thought I'd see you here.
Like,
And
what's
he's
going
like-
on, buddy? You okay?
Yeah, and
But
then Mob's
he
like not
doesn't
responding.
realize-
Bitch slap.
Oh my.
He
Oh my
doesn't
God.
realize that it's not Mob he's trying to talk to. It's Mob's alter ego.
Yeah, and then like watching Teru fight against Mob, and then Mob just beating the absolute loving shit out of him. I just felt so bad. I was like, Teru, he was a bad guy from season 1, but right now he's like, this is his redemption arc, right? Where it's like, I lost control of myself once, and I thought I was hot shit, and now it's my turn to help you, Mob. And he like keeps fighting against them, and he keeps trying to save the people around him and stuff like that, because Mob doesn't care about the people around him anymore. He just cares about fighting whoever's in front of him and going to go confess to Tsubomi. And then like you get to the end where like he's like, Mob, don't do it, and then Mob fucking just absolutely nukes the shit out of that apartment complex that they're at. And
Yep.
it was like, bro, he just killed hella people. Like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, how does Shio come back from this? But then it's like, it turns out Taro used the last of his powers to save everyone. He's like, I won! I beat you this time, Mob! And I'm like, bro, Teru, good character growth, bro. Because he's
Fucking
like,
beautiful.
he's stronger than ever now, after fighting Mob, because he learned his own shortcomings, and he learned to like try to be normal, but also like become a better person. And I'm like, it's so good. And the fact that he's talking to Mob this entire time about like, what about your ideals? I thought you were better than this. And then it's like, snap out of it, Mob. And I'm just like, what a good fucking friend. And to protect Mob, he saves all those citizens because he knew deep down Mob was still in there fighting. Because like, I was just like, oh god, dude. Oh.
And then he
so
gets his hair ripped off again.
And then he gets his hair ripped
This
off.
poor boy. He's just destined to not have hair.
Yeah.
He should just keep his head shaved.
Oh,
and
man,
then,
that was such a good
and
fight.
then, after that, after he realized he can't stop Mob, he just protects as many people as he could. We're drawn to the end of the episode, and you see a airplane in the sky. You see the government finally doing something. Holy shit, it's Suzuki.
Yeah,
He
they
is
deploy
back.
Suzuki.
The government finally does something. Let's throw fucking criminals at these guys.
Sounds like a government thing to do.
Yeah.
So then,
It's
yeah, so
extremely
Suzuki goes and
government
fights Mob, and basically he's like, "Oh, so this is what it's like now that you stopped carrying and fighting at your 100%." And Suzuki tries to fight him, and basically Suzuki loses, obviously, because he already lost the Mob once, right? But he was
No,
like,
no, no.
"I'm gonna."
But, like, he didn't lose. He just
He ran
chose
away.
yeah, and like
Well,
not to
so-
mention his powers got overwhelming, and he couldn't control it anymore. So like that fight wasn't loss per se, but
Well,
now this
so-
is a full 1v1.
In yeah, I guess. I mean,
At
no,
this
I'd
point,
say-
at this point, as a viewer, I'm starting to realize that okay, the only one that's gonna stop this is Mob himself.
basically.
Because it's like it's the old theme of like the hardest battles you'll ever fight are the battles against yourself.
So, with Suzuki, he goes and fights Mob, and he's basically like, "I owe you my life. I owe you a favor. You saved me from going out of control, so I'm gonna save you." And then his son shows up, and then he's like, "We'll fight him as a duo." And then they keep getting their ass kicked, and then eventually Suzuki's like, "I'm gonna offer my life to stop Mob because he basically saved my life, and I owe it to him anyway." But then as Suzuki approaches Mob, Suzuki realizes that he still has his wife or his ex-wife and his son, and he's held back by his family now. And he remembers the lesson that he learned from Mob. It's like, I shouldn't fight. Like, I might be able to stop him if I sacrifice my life, but if I sacrifice my life, I lose everything that I was fighting for. And then he just turns around. He's like, "Sho, I'm gonna need you to give me help. Give me lend me your shoulder so we can go away from this." And then when he does that, Mob doesn't chase him. And I'm just like, Suzuki has grown as a character. He gets his own redemption arc. Like, what the fuck? Everyone's getting their own closure. Like, it's crazy.
It's beautiful, is what it is. And that's not the end of the episode either.
No,
After
not.
that, fuck, what was it? The Body Improvement Club?
Oh
yeah,
the Body
he
Improvement
runs
Club
into the
goes
Body
and tries-
Improvement Club.
and they try to they're like, "Mob, wake up! Like, we'll help you!" Like, oh, and then they just get slapped away, you know. And then
And
Ritsu shows up.
Ritsu
Then Ritsu
saves
shows
them,
up.
and then Ritsu tries.
And oh my god, and the growth that we have and the closure that we have for Ritsu is so good too. Because so Ritsu has always lived in his brother's shadow. That was the main theme of like season 1. It kind of carries on to season 2, where he's still afraid of like what his brother will do. And Ritsu finally unlocks 100% of his power, right? Like it goes Ritsu 100%, and he's stronger than ever. His potential has increased even more. But even then, he realizes that's not what I need to help my brother right now. What I need to do is I need to treat him as an equal. I need to get back to what we were before, when we were still being viewed as equals. I used to be his little brother, and I transformed into this guy that was just afraid of him, who was afraid of what he would do. And he does talk about that, like when he's like, "I knew you'd go. I was always afraid that you'd go out of control again, and I see that you have. But it's okay, big brother. I'll stop you this time. It's my turn to help you." And I'm like, poor
Bro,
Ritsu, man.
I started almost crying at that. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, and then like Ritsu talks about his growth and stuff like that, and once he realizes like, I haven't treated my brother the same since then. Even after all the shit that he's gone through in season 1 and season 2, he still hasn't treated Mob the same since they were kids, since he was afraid of his big brother. And when Ritsu accepts that, and that's like when he gets that power up, he accepts the power of friendship, and he realizes like
Quite literally, by the way.
what Mob needs right now isn't someone to use psychic powers to battle him at his level, but he needs someone to understand who he is and accept him for all that he is. And that's the internal struggle that Mob has. And this is where we start to see, like, he starts talking like, Mob is Mob, but Shigeo is someone else. So this question mark guy is actually his other self that he's afraid of, the one that he locked away because he hurt his younger brother. So we learned that there's 2 guys actually in here. There's Mob and there's Shigeo. And Mob is the character the fake guy that on the surface who doesn't laugh, who doesn't
The
do
mask.
anything.
He's the
like,
mask.
The mask. He's the mask. And it was like when he comes to that realization, because he's like, "Stop hurting my friends. I'm the real Mob." And he's like, "You're not the real Mob. you locked that away. You locked me away when you hurt your brother because you were afraid of everything, and you're rejecting me. But I'm the true one. I'm the one whose powers that you always use to get your way. Not anymore. And I'm just like, bro, his inner demon fight, bro. His inner demon fight. I was like, this is what it's been culminating. This is what it's been all about since day one, since literally episode 1.
This is literally, as you said, the accumulation of the entire story of Mob Psycho, and it is god tier. It really is.
And then we get to Reagan finally stepping in and trying to stop Mob. He goes in with Serizawa, and Serizawa's like, we can't get any closer. I don't have enough psychic power to protect you. And then Reagan's like, fine, I'll do it myself. So he just like, he goes off, and he's like getting fucked up by this tornado and stuff. But he finally reaches Mob, and he's like, I need to talk to you, Mob. And Mob's like batting him away. He's like, you know, like you ain't shit. Like Master Reagan ain't shit. And eventually,
which, let's be honest, Master Reagan ain't shit.
Master Reagan, he's a con man, right? But the craziest thing was that he's like, don't look down on me. I've been improving my body too. He takes off his shoes and his fucking tie and shit and fucking sprints at Mob. He's like, Mob, I'm gonna talk to you. And then when he finally gets a hold of him and he finally fucking talks to him, he gets almost like he gets slapped down, right? Like right at the end. And it's like, no, Reagan, he couldn't talk to Mob. And Mob's like, I don't have to listen to anything you say. And then all of a sudden he fucking instant teleports in front of Mob. And you're like, well, what? And then Mob like tries to go and attack him. And then he's like, psh! He's like, whoa, what the fuck? He's like, is Reagan a psychic? Has he been a psychic this entire time? Has he been fucking with us? And he stops the second blow. You're like, yo, what the fuck? And it turns out Dimple's back, bitch.
Fucking
Dimple ain't dead.
Out of nowhere.
Out of fucking nowhere. Dimple's back. Oh, fuck.
That caught me off guard. I was like,
I knew he couldn't stay dead.
God, my boy.
I knew he could not stay dead, bro. I fucking knew Dimple would not stay dead. It's a fucking shonen through and through. No one dies. No one dies. So Dimple's back, and he's like, you were causing such a ruckus, Mob, that I guess my existence has come back to Earth. And then Reagan's like, Dimple, just give me a minute to talk to Mob. And Dimple's like, okay, Reagan, like,
I'll make it happen.
I'll make it happen. Just don't die. So then Reagan finally confronts Mob. He's like, Mob, there's something I need to tell you. I'm a con man. I don't have any psychic powers. And then like, oh, I forgot to mention. So Ritsu is the only one who realizes that because of the shock of the car accident, that's why his brother went out of control. So he needs another big shock to kind of like shock Mob back into control from Shigeo. So when Reagan he finally confesses to Mob that he's a big fat phony. He has no psychic powers. He has no idea about ghosts or nothing. He's a big fat fucking phony. When he says that, Mob finally snaps back because it's such a big shock to him.
He's like, wait, what?
He's like, what? And then Reagan goes off on his spiel about like, yeah, I've been lying to you this entire time. I'm a con man. But he has an actual heart-to-heart with Mob about the truth. He's like, I honestly got sick of my job, and I started this up on a whim. And I was going to leave on a whim. But when you came through my doors that day, of course, I was using you. But over the time, I realized that you needed someone to talk to, and you became my friend. And I'm just like, Reagan's pouring his heart out. And I'm like, oh, Reagan, you're such a good guy. Like, Mom knew you were a great guy, but now you're letting everything be bare, and you're still a good guy. And it's like, oh, it was so good, bro. Oh, God. Like, I love that Reagan, obviously, I knew Reagan was going to be, like, the last bastion, right? Because it's his master. It's the one he's always idolized. So I knew Reagan was going to factor into the end somehow about, like, waking Mob up. But I didn't expect him to, like, I thought he was going to bullshit his way through or something, you know? I thought it was going to go to the stereotypical shonen route of, like, Dimple's going to power feed all of Mob's energy into Reagan, like, in end of season 1, basically. And Reagan's going to get super buff and just beat the shit out of Mob or something. Something to that effect. But, no, they stuck through with the whole, we're not fighting with powers, we're fighting with words. We're fighting with emotions.
We're fighting with who we are.
Yeah, it's like, and then Mob finally comes to terms and realizes, like, when Reagan confesses all that, he's like, look, everyone has sides to them that they don't want others to see. In fact, I hate my other side. I hate the fact that I'm a con man, that I'm sleazy and stuff like that, but I am who I am, and it's okay to accept who you are. It's okay to be worried. It's okay to everything. And then that snaps Mob back, and Mob finally realizes it's not Mob and Shigeo. Mob and Shigeo are the same person. So he tells Shigeo, he's like, I'm gonna accept you for who you are. And Shigeo is like, I'm not gonna accept you. And then he's like, but you have to, because we're the same person. Like,
And like
both
there's
personas.
been this animated thing of uh Mob, his personality, his self getting torn off. It's a very visual thing. You see pieces of him getting torn off and going to Shigeo, and you see that. But then when he finally says, we have to accept ourselves, you see the pieces all come together.
Yeah, it finally coalesces. It
Yeah.
combines.
And
And
it
it's just
was
like,
such a beautiful artsy way of saying he accepted himself. He has become one. And that
yeah,
was like,
'cause,
wow.
like,
That's,
so when
wow.
they represent Shigeo, he's like a big scribble and he's kind of just a black outline. Then here's Mob in just like full color, and then like pieces of Mob being absorbed into Shigeo because Shigeo's finally taking over, but he still wasn't complete. He was an incomplete person. But once they both accepted each other, like, we're both Mob, both Shigeo. That's when he fuses and he's like, he's come to terms with everything and he's accepted himself and he can finally feel emotion again. And then he finally goes and meets Tsubomi at the park and he gets fucking rejected. Bro!
So this was great though, because
I
while he
honestly-
did get rejected, and by the way, this whole time we've seen Tsubomi just like staring at this oncoming storm. She's like,
And she's
should
just
I
chilling, bro.
evacuate? Should I get out of here? And then every time she starts to leave, she's like, wait, no, Shigeo is coming over here. I'm staying for him. And I'm like, you're the dumbest fucking woman I've seen. Like, Jesus
Bro,
Christ.
she had faith, man. She had faith. That's why. But,
True,
yeah, so
but still.
So he goes and confesses to Tsubome, and then he comes back. And he's like, I got rejected. And he smiles on his face. And they're like, what? You got rejected? And they're like, oh, God, is he going to freak out again? But then he just starts crying and being sad. And then Reagan's like, well, these things kind of happen, kid. Like, let's go get something to eat. I'm kind of hungry. And then they just walk off into the sunset. And I'm just like, so what is great is that, so Mob being knocked out and then having to go come fight his own demons on his insides and stuff like that was such a great thing to do before he went and talked to Tsubomi. Because obviously Tsubomi was going to fucking reject him because she makes it pretty apparent that she doesn't know any of the guys who are asking her out. So she's like, I don't know.
She's made it clear multiple times. She just doesn't have the time for a relationship right now.
Yeah, she's just like, she's kind of I'm my own person and no one really, I don't know any of you. So like, why would I want to go out with you? So it's like, it was pretty apparent to me that she was going to fucking, like, she obviously likes Mob, but she's not going to have time for him because she's moving first and foremost. Long distance
and she's still doing school. And like,
she's
that's
doing her own
extremely
thing.
busy. Yeah.
So I knew he was going to get rejected, but I love that Mob was able to, like, he had emotions finally. He got rejected and he was happy he confessed, but he was also so fucking sad because he got rejected by his crush, right? And it's just like, oh, poor Mob.
And then afterwards, we see that they are talking every day now, though.
On the phone, yeah.
On the phone. I was like, let's go, my boy, let's go.
Let's go!
You're building to it. You're going there.
Copium, dude, copium.
Copium is a terrible drug.
But yeah, so then we get to the ending where it's like the year has passed and now Mob is the vice president of the muscle club.
Yeah, the
Health
body
and Fitness
improvement club. Yeah,
Body improvement club. And he can actually keep up with all the runners now and stuff. He's like, he makes a little speech at the end. He's like, you know, a year ago when I did this, by the time I got here, I was a little anemic and I couldn't do anything. But look at how far I've come now. And then, like, it's just all heartwarming and feely and great, and I love it. Freaking the paranormal, the telepathy club leader now works at Reagan's office. Mob doesn't work there anymore. Reagan does, or she does. And then freaking Serizawa is now there, and he's like full of confidence and answering the phones. Like, how can I help you? Would you like to do a phone consultation? He's like, he's grown as a person. I'm like, oh, happy endings for everyone.
So much.
And the icing on the fucking cake.
The literal cake.
A literal
cake. So they're all like, they invite all the people from the who are like the people in Mob's life to this office, right? To Reagan's office, and they're all like, "Oh, quiet, he's here," and they all hide and stuff. And Reagan walks through the door, and he's talking to Dimple. He's like, I just threw salt everywhere. There was no ghost. And he's like, isn't that what you always do? And I'm like, good old Reagan, still doing his salt stuff, fucking hydro water salt splash shit. And he walks through the door. He's like, oh, why are the lights off? Then he gets there, and they're like, well, happy birthday! And I'm like, full circle. Reagan now has friends. Now they're celebrating his birthday. That was a whole thing in season 2, bro. Like, what the fuck? Full circle. I was so happy. Oh God, such a well-written show, dude. They closed all the good story beats.
It was so well done.
How dare you, Alex? Get out. We don't care about Alex's opinion. That's fine.
I like the final scene with Reagan's birthday. I just think, and I agree. I think a lot of the stuff needed to be finished. I just wish they'd done it differently. Honestly, I'll tell you what I really wish, because obviously the final battle is really a battle of Mob against himself, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's about self-improvement, and the hardest battles you'll ever face are the battles between yourself and, well, yourself. I really wish that it all literally taken place in his mind.
See, the thing is, I like that because again, they set it up in the very beginning. It's not going to be about the action scenes anymore, about like the crazy psychic powers fighting. It's about personal growth.
Oh, I agree. That's not what I wanted either. I didn't want fights. I didn't want like fights in big air quotes. I wanted like an actual internal battle. And I feel like if they had actually, after he gets hit by the car, if he was actually like passed out and it all happened in his mind, like all the same stuff could have happened, like all the same stuff, but it all literally takes place in his mind, I would have been okay with that. The fact that it actually happens and he faces no consequences for all the destruction that he causes really bothers me.
Well, no, there's an out for that. Reagan's like, don't remember that psychic that helped us fix the office in your house? We'll get him. Serizawa, I need you right now. Hurry up, come over here. We got some houses and roads. So
that seems like a really weak out.
Okay, look, they hand wave it. They do hand wave it. I give you that.
Yeah.
But like I said,
ideally he should have been in jail.
Well,
oh my fucking God, chill out. Jesus.
No one has cared so far, and also he hasn't killed anyone.
That we know
he did
of.
A lot of public damage, but if you do a lot of public damage, but then you fix everything, like I feel like it's probably fine.
I feel like you'd still get jail time for that.
No, but as we've seen, like the government doesn't care. They're like, oh yeah, as long as everything's fixed, we don't really care.
They probably have a special fund just for psychics damage.
I don't know. I feel like it could have been handled a lot differently, and I would have enjoyed it more.
I enjoyed it perfectly as is.
It looks to be fair, it looks great. It all looks fantastic.
Oh,
because I wanted it to happen in real life, because I wanted it to be a because it is a reflection of like again, going back to the season 1 and 2, this is what Mob could have turned into. And this is what Mob would have been if he let Shigeo take control the entire time of his life, where literally him just walking down the street would cause mayhem. Because no one could stop him, because he's just unchecked in his fucking psychic powers.
And it's a very real thing, because a lot of us have masks that we put on in public. Like, we have a public face that we let people see, and then there's who we really are behind the mask.
Anyway, it ends off with Mob smiling, and that's the last frame, and I'm like, I'm so happy for my boy right now.
I do like the last scene a lot.
Friends.
The last scene is very good.
I just love how it wrapped up. Like, this is why when we were doing our Fenny Awards, I was like, the best story, I was like, bro, it's Mob Psycho. Come on. Like, I didn't want to spoil it about why it was the best one, but it was like watching his growth and watching the development from season 1 all the way to season 3, watching them close off all these loops, all these story beats. They actually have a finished fucking ending and everything comes full fucking circle. That's beautiful. That's good writing.
It's so incredibly hard to do too, and the fact that they managed to pull it off, fucking brilliant.
What, Alex?
I was gonna say, like, so what? Because we've done this for every other season. Like, numerically, what do you give the season as a out of 10, and then what do you give the entire series as a whole out of 10?
I think this season, I'm honestly gonna have to go with a probably an 8.5.
Okay.
But as a series whole, 9 out of 10.
All right, Shinoda.
Like, none of them have scored 9 out of 10 in any of the seasons, but it's because you have to watch the entire trilogy to really appreciate it.
Okay. What about you, Shinoda?
Give me 1 second. I will tell you.
He's pulling up his mouth.
He's pulling up his mouth to like double check himself before he answers the question.
9 out of 10 for season 3, and overall for the entirety of the show, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I think like
It's
this
nearly
is
perfect.
one of those like top tier shows. Like there's probably a couple things here and there that like doesn't make it the perfect show, one of those 10 out of 10s, but like this is up there. This is like
It's
one of
really
those
good.
shows.
Yeah.
This is one of those things that I will forever recommend for the rest of my life. I already do it for so many people. I'm like, hey, ever heard of Mob Psycho? This is one of those shows that I'm gonna remember for the rest of my life as well, because I'm just like, man, that was a good fucking show about personal growth
Yeah.
and
like,
about human
it's-
bonds. I'm like, that was such a good.
It's crazy
thing.
that Mob
It
Psycho
taught
is a
me
shonen.
lessons.
It's crazy that this is a shonen. That's what the craziest thing to me about it is.
It doesn't feel like a shonen.
It doesn't, because again, we talked about this before. It's stereotypical shonen like Bleach, Naruto, One Piece. Like, yeah, I like those shows. I like those manga, but Mob Psycho really brings something else completely to the table. Like Demon Slayer is a pretty good shonen in my opinion. It looks great. Love the soundtrack.
Shit,
However,
son, Mob Psycho brings a whole new table.
It's like it's
Yeah,
a merge. It's a merging of shonen and slice of life. I honestly believe this. Because
Yeah,
in
it's got
slice of life, you have
elements.
these like story beats in slice of life where characters are supposed to grow and learn lessons, and it's integrated really well into Mob Psycho, I think.
yeah, I honestly like. I can't think of very many shows that I honestly can't think of any shonen shows that have done what Mob Psycho has done. Honestly, like I would argue that there is growth and stuff in like in Naruto and stuff like that.
Oh,
but
of course.
at the level, like, you gotta admit, as much as I love Naruto, the main three don't get nearly enough development.
certainly
right?
not
The
until
main-
Shippuden.
Certainly not to Shippuden. And there's development for a lot of the characters, but there's a lot of surrounding characters.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like mixed matched, and it's kind of like an overarching, like, this is a story about everyone, about the village of Konoha and stuff like that. But
It's a
for
story
Mob
about
Psycho-
a place, not a person.
Yeah. And that's like the entire, like, the spirit of
Ironic,
Elite
since
Village.
the fucking show is named after one of the characters.
I mean, it's always been about that though. Like the fucking the Will of Fire.
Yeah.
It's about the Will of Fire. That, if you did not understand that Naruto was about the Will of Fire, man, I recommend you fucking
Rewatch that
Get-
shit.
go reread it. It's been always about the Will of Fire, and that's why. Anyway, Mob Psycho has done a really good job of developing its main cast, its main protagonist, and developing the side characters. Like, it didn't have too little, and it definitely did not have too much. I think that each character got developed well enough, other than Tsubomi. But I would argue, Alex, that Tsubomi wasn't a big part of the story anyway. She was the goal for Mob. She wasn't a character because she doesn't actually like do anything for Mob other than be, this is the girl I like and I want to confess to. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, this is why she didn't get developed, because she's not part of she's not part of the personal growth for Mob himself.
Which is kind of why
She's
I feel
not.
like the final like arc is kind of shallow in that regard, because the goal,
No,
while the goal
she-
of self improvement is good, the destination you're trying to get to with asking her out is really shallow.
It's
don't
not
think
though.
so.
I would
I don't
say
think
I
so.
wouldn't say
I
that's
don't-
shallow.
I don't know anything about this character. It's like if you introduced me to a stranger at the very end and said, "Oh, I'm gonna go ask her
You don't
out."
need to know that much about Tsubomi other than she's a childhood friend, and she's the one that Mob, from the very get-go, his entire two goals. The
He's-
self-improvement
yeah.
to learn to
Yeah,
accept
John,
himself, and then asking out Tsubomi.
John, that's literally all you know about her after 3 seasons. That's it.
But that's the point.
mean,
She's
you
not
get-
supposed to be a character she's not a character that is meant to be actually a character.
I will say this: you do get things peppered in throughout the entirety of
Very
the series
minimally.
about her. Very minimally, yes, but you do get things here and there. But as John is saying, she's not an important character. She is a goal for Mob.
And that's my problem. She wasn't developed enough for me to care about her as a
She
goal.
represents an
You
ideal.
don't have to care about her though. That's the thing. You're supposed to
She
care
just
about
represents,
Mob.
yeah.
I don't
She
know.
just
I just
represents the
didn't.
ideal for Mob, all right? About why he wants to self-improve. Like, you're missing the point. It's shallow because it is. You're right. Because his entire reason of wanting to self-improve starts because of that shallow feeling. But it develops. That's the entire point. And they just had to close off the story beat. Like that's why it feels shallow, because again, it was shallow at the very beginning, but that's why it starts from that
guess.
shallowness of just wanting to confess to Tsubomi. That has always been the goal. Like I said, from the very first fucking episode.
I guess I just didn't. It didn't resonate with me as much as it did with you guys.
Listen, you just don't have good taste in anime. It's fine.
I mean, I thought it was okay. I just think it should have been handled differently. I think you could have hit all the exact same story beats, just put a different like veneer over it. That's why I think I feel like if it had happened all in his head, it would have been better.
I don't think it would have been. I don't think you could have rewrote this any better because Tsubome has never been a part of any of season 1 or 2.
Exactly, that's my problem.
That's why I'm saying if you rewrote that to be all part of the 3 seasons, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. That's part of my problem with the final arc is that like I know so little and I care so little about Tsubomi. If we had had some development throughout the course of the entire run, I think I would care about it more.
You're missing the point, man.
No, I'm not. I get the point. I get the point.
You're not seeing the forest for the trees.
I get the point. I'm saying that the way they went about it could have been better.
I don't think so.
I disagree. I just disagree. We have a fundamental disagreement about this. It is fine. It's fine.
No, I just think you got bad writing, bro.
Jesus Christ.
I just wanted the character that he's supposed to like be an actual character.
She's not supposed to be though. Again, I don't understand. Again, you're not seeing the forest for the trees.
What am I missing?
She is not meant to be a developed character.
Why not? Why isn't a love interest supposed to be a developed character?
Because this isn't a rom-com. It's a fucking shonen.
Then why should I
self-growth?
All right, then why should I care about her?
You don't have to.
Then why do I care? Okay, then we agree.
Why do you care? So why do you care that Mob is self-improving himself?
For the sake of self-improvement and the fact that it helps those around him.
Why did he start doing it?
Because he wanted to find a place in the world for him.
Because he wanted to confess to Tsubomi.
And
it starts as a it's the point.
But it's not the sole point. It's not the only reason he wanted to do it.
That's the major point.
Alex, listen. This is the point. This is you.
But it's not. You're talking about it like Tsubomi was literally the only reason he wanted to improve himself, and it's not.
It's not the only reason, but
it's
it was
the reason
the majority of his
It's shallow
character.
for a reason. It's the point.
But I would argue that him trying to find a place for himself is far more enjoyable to watch as a means of self-improvement.
Which is why that was the main focus of the last part of season 3.
I would argue that the first part of season 3 was that, not the last.
The first part was learning to accept people for who they are because of the whole Dekabo thing. Come on. Ekabo. Dimple.
Just call him Dimple. It's fine.
Dimple.
Oh, also, I didn't even mention it. Him bringing Dimple back at the end completely destroys my thing that I said before about the heroic sacrifice.
See, I knew that Dimple couldn't have died because, again, Shonen, no one has died yet. I knew they were going to bring him back. I honestly would have preferred it if Dimple died, though.
So you agree with me?
I would have preferred that.
You do agree with me there that it would have been far better if he had stayed dead.
I actually fully agree.
Okay.
I mean, again, I understand that it's a shonen, and again,
so you do agree that it could have been written better.
Not with the Tsubomi thing, no.
But you agree that part of it could have been written better.
Yeah, certain parts.
Yeah, there are certain things I'd say could be better.
Okay.
But the Tsubomi thing, 100% disagree with you. You're wrong because you're missing the point. You're not seeing the forest for the trees.
I still don't understand the point you're saying that I'm missing. I get the idea of self-improvement. Okay, it's great. And one of the reasons he wanted to improve himself was because he likes his childhood friend Tsubomi. Okay, I get it.
Listen, they never set her up to be a character in the first place. I don't understand why you want her to be developed.
All right. This is going to go on forever.
I know, this is going on forever. Again, Senpai, the point,
I don't know. I feel like it could have been better, and I don't think it's fine. Anyway, I haven't even given him.
That's fine. That's your opinion. That you are entitled to it. You really are, and that's okay. That is okay, Alex.
I guess what I'm saying is I liked it, but I wanted more.
Again, if it was a rom-com, I'd agree, but it's not. It's a shonen. Shonen about self-improvement.
I didn't mind the fact that he got rejected. I thought that was a good thing to have.
I think it was great.
I really like that fact because it shows after they're talking, they're growing their relationship to that point even more, and I like.
And
that.
It kind of leaves it open to interpretation as to what happens going forward.
Yeah,
they could just
exactly.
still just be friends. Like, we don't know.
Or maybe they get together later.
Maybe in high school or
knows?
college
Yeah.
or something they reconnect. I don't know. It could happen. I do
that's
like
so
the
Wait,
fact
they're actual friends now,
That's
which is great.
actual copium, but okay.
I do like the fact that it is left kind of open to interpretation where it goes from there, though. Anyway, I will say overall, I give the last season probably a 7 out of 10. I would give it a 9 out of 10 if I liked the final arc a little more. Overall, though, I give the entire series an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, that's not a bad score.
Yeah, that's
I will
great.
say one thing I don't have any problem with, and I kind of agree with Shinoda on this, is that I don't have a problem recommending this. I certainly don't have a problem recommending this as a gateway anime.
Oh yeah, it's very easy to get into. But I mean, the problem with recommending a show like Mob Psycho as a gateway anime is that no other anime will be as good.
The standard it sets is so
You're setting the
goddamn
bar real
high.
high, man. This is why we start
Well-
off with Dragon Ball.
Well, I don't know. A lot of people think that Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is a gateway anime, and that's pretty good too.
I mean, I think Full Metal Alchemist in general is a good gateway anime.
Yeah, but it's pretty
Not
good.
Brotherhood. Brotherhood, I think, Brotherhood suffers from the fact that the beginning of it, if you didn't watch Full Metal Alchemist, kind of just yada yadas over a lot of
It
stuff.
does.
But
This is not. It's not a Full Metal Alchemist spoilercast.
no,
Maybe one day. But yeah, I don't have a problem recommending this to just about anyone. I feel like this show definitely appeals to a lot of different tastes. And that's good. It's sort of a good all-around kind of anime that I feel like kind of...
it's definitely something that I did not expect.
No,
Because,
yeah,
again,
yeah.
coming off of One Punch Man, one is like the super power scale fantasy guy, and then you get into this story and you're like, oh, it's kind of weird. There is a super power fantasy scaling shit going on here, but then it just gets more and more involved and deeper into like self-improvement and wanting to be a better person. And
I would argue that it starts off as sort of the power scaling thing, but then they kind of drops that pretty quickly.
yeah, and
Especially
I love
by
that
by the start of season 2, it's pretty much gone.
Yeah, and I love that it doesn't come back in season 3. It's my favorite part. Like, I love that the action sequences in season 3 is Dimple fighting and literally Reagan fucking trying to get to Mob, and people getting swatted away by Mob.
And both look really good.
They're great. It's it's crazy that the peak action moments of season 3 are not the main character. It's about the supporting characters.
You're right.
It's good.
That's what makes Mob Psycho so peak, though. That it really is.
Honestly, you could say some of the best action sequences in this entire show have not been the main character.
Which is good. I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think having a good supporting cast is very important to having a good, well-rounded anime.
I would say it's important to having a good piece of well-rounded fiction. But yeah, definitely. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say about Mob Psycho. I have enjoyed this far more than I ever enjoyed One Punch Man.
Did you watch season 2?
No.
Don't watch.
I
you been
have.
reading the manga.
I have read the manga, though.
Are you caught up? With,
No,
Murata?
I'm not caught up, but I have read it.
Oh, okay.
I will
Bro,
say
you need
the
to- you
manga,
need to
not
catch up.
One's manga, because that fucking shit is terrible. But the
I'm caught up
actual
on both. Get at me.
the actual manga I do think is really good. The darker tone kind of suits, I think, the story a little bit better.
I just love Murata Sensei's art.
His art is really good too. Yeah, that
I
helps.
legitimately think Murata is one of the greatest mangaka of our time. He's just
That's a
S tier
bold
artist.
claim, my friend.
Very bold. I'd say Mira, but okay.
I mean,
That's what I'm not
Araki is
saying
a person
the
who
greatest, I'm
exists,
saying-
man.
That's what I'm saying. Not the greatest, but one of the greatest.
yeah.
Like up there.
I mean,
Like,
it's
story and art, especially the art. God, I
topic
literally
idea.
I
3x3
literally
of
stopped reading
favorite
for a
manga
moment
artists.
just
Ooh,
to like,
I
watch.
like that idea a lot, John. We should do that.
We should do anime studios, then we should do manga artists, and then we should like.
Absolutely. I'm all for it. We should definitely do that. But yeah, like John, I went into this, of course, for the last, year and a half, 2 years, Natai has been absolutely down my fucking throat. It's like, watch Mob, watch fucking Mob, Alex.
There's a reason why I've been in the Discord constantly saying, yo, Mob Psycho's
No,
really
fuck you guys.
fucking good.
I waited until the very end of the season to binge it. I did not watch this shit week to week. Fuck that. This is a show.
You didn't do it like me. You didn't experience the pain in real time.
I would never. After watching season 1, I was like, you know what? This is a really good show. I like where this is going. I want to see more, but I'm not going to subject myself to these fucking cliffhangers. So I'm going to wait till it's done and binge the shit out of it.
See?
I enjoyed it a lot more like that.
He's thinking.
Fuck you guys. You guys did not experience the pain, the process of waiting for another episode, just so eagerly thinking, what the fuck just happened? And like, what is happening next week? Oh my god, you guys do not understand. You fucking bingers don't understand how great it is waiting week to week.
My boy, I don't want to hear your shit. I watched Vinland Saga season 1. Fuck you.
No, Chinoda, you can try to sell me cock and ball torture all you want. I'm
I mean, you're the right person, John.
Is what gives it life.
Hey, power to you, the people who love that shit. Not me, man.
Oh man. All right. Well, I think that's a great way to cock and ball torture is the best way to end this Spoilercast series. I think.
Oh yeah. Just titillate the balls a little bit.
Just tickle the testicles. It's fine. This has been fun. So this is kind of an experiment for us doing this, because hopefully, and I hope this works out. Otherwise, I'm gonna look like an absolutely fucking fool when this comes out. We have released this all in the same week, all 3 seasons: Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Psycho week.
Yeah, Mob Psycho 100 week on the podcast. I hope you all have enjoyed it, because. One last thing I want to mention about the anime. It's one of those anime where I feel like the journey is far more important than the actual destination.
Absolutely.
It's
The
100%
journey is
about
what
the journey,
matters.
yeah.
So it's kind of why I don't knock off too many points for me not enjoying the final arc, because I still enjoyed the journey immensely. But I hope you all have enjoyed us going on this journey together. It's something that we've talked about doing more and more of on the podcast, is these Spoilercast series. I enjoy them. I think, John, you enjoy them too.
I mean, if it's a spoiler, I like Spoilercast because we really get into the meat of things, and like earlier we're getting heated about the Hosobomi thing, and I'm still. But anyway, but that's what I like about it, because it's like we go full nerd. That's why we go full weeb about these episodes.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's something we want to start doing more of. I still keep trying to tell Natai when we get done with Monogatari, we're doing JoJo's. We're going and doing JoJo's from the beginning.
Oh, God.
I thought you guys already did a JoJo's one, didn't you?
We actually, back in the day, we did 2 JoJo's Spoilercast. It was one for the anime and one for the manga. And that was like 4, maybe 5 years ago now. That was me and Riker that did that.
You didn't even have part 6.
Yeah, that was before part 5 even came out.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Natai and I think, want to go and do like a tread of JoJo's. I don't know if that'll be the next like Spoilercast series we do.
Anime only or manga too?
Probably just the anime, since
Just
Natai is a filthy fucker who won't read the manga.
Oh, that's right. He doesn't read JoJo's either.
I like how he comes to me a couple of days ago and he's like, so what's the new JoJo like? And I'm like, fucker, I'm not going to tell you because you're going to go, oh my god, Alex, a spoiler.
What's the next one? JoJolian?
JoJo Lands.
JoJo Lands, okay.
It's already
JoJolian, the last one?
The first JoJolian was the last one. The first chapter of part 9 has come out. It's interesting. There's a guy with titties. Yeah.
But anyway,
we're getting way off track.
I'm gonna go into the JoJo Spoilercast now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end this. Thank you all there for dropping in to listen to us. As I said, I hope you've enjoyed this Mob Psycho 100 Spoilercast series that we've done. Check the description below to where you can find links to Anime Club After Dark on Twitch, on social media, and on Discord. There's also a link to our merch store down there. Any purchases you make there do really, really help us out. With that, I have been your host, Alex, and I will see you next time. Say goodnight, guys.
Mob! What do you want? Mob!